House Speaker and straight-up host Claudius Francis warns that the leader of the opposition could be sadly mistaken if he relies solely on his belief as a legal defense in recent shocking claims he made against Joachim Henry. Micoud South MP Allen Chastanet during a press conference this week alleged that the then candidate was armed with a gun and intended to mortally wound Guy Joseph during the SDA church confrontation. However, the police department said no firearm was involved in that incident. With word of a pending defamation suit, Francis contends that the belief premise is by no means legally adequate.
If the leader of the opposition, and I'm not going to say too much about this because my understanding is that the matter will be the subject of litigation, so I'm not going to say too much on it. But if the leader of the opposition is of the view that the three words, "we now believe," is a shield, he is seriously in error. The fact that someone believes and intend to rely on that belief is not sufficient. That belief must itself be premised on some fact, or at least something sufficiently tangible to allow you to rely on the conclusion which you have. So you can't just say you believe today's Wednesday and act on the premise that today is Wednesday. I mean, what's the basis for believing today is Wednesday?
The opposition leader downplayed criticism of his failure to condemn seditious remarks uttered by a regular caller to UWP Media. The incensed contributor urged the destruction by fire of public property over policy differences with the SLP administration on the St. Jude Hospital project. Chastanet launched into a series of counter-accusations which observers argue were not examples of incitement to rise up against state authority. Francis sought to clarify the definition of the term sedition.
Second thing I want to speak about relating to the opposition leader's comments was his loose use of the word seditious. Perhaps it might be necessary to say what sedition means. In a nutshell, in layman's language, it means to incite people to rebel against the authority of a state. To incite people to rebel against the authority of a state.
The straight-up host, who declined to elaborate further during the midday talk show on Friday, is bemused by the entire episode as the possible march towards another round of litigation continues.
Even if the erroneous and false narrative which the leader of the opposition painted of Joachim Henry's actions, even if that false narrative were true, how does that amount to inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state? I don't get it. But as I say, the leader of the opposition has even more legal personnel to rely on than I do, so perhaps they were the ones who advised him that it was okay to say those things. I don't know. We'll see in due course.
Police Commissioner Milton Daisy made it clear during a press conference back in April 2021 that Joachim Henry's gun was not involved in the confrontation at Forestier. The police department, however, did confirm that it had taken possession of the firearm for safekeeping. Winston Springer Jr., HTS News Force.